Hi, welcome to my first picture book recipe, and today we are going to make a simple but absolutely delicious chicken tagine. Just to tell you a little bit about me, my name's Michael Robinson from Food on the Blog. I'm aka the Food Curator, and you can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course at www.foodontheblog.co.uk, so please go along and say hello. So, although the tagine is named after a clay dish that it's made in, you don't have to worry if you don't have one, because a casserole dish with a lid will work just as fine. So, get one ready and take a look at this list of ingredients. You can, of course, pause it at this stage and grab everything you need. And if you look at the list, you'll see some interesting ingredients. And the origins of the tagine come from the hot heat of Morocco in North Africa. But it works absolutely brilliantly as a winter warmer. So at this time of year, it's fantastic to be eating. And I've had lots of styles of tagines over the past few years, but when I was in Marrakesh, they seem to be a lot more delicately flavoured and not as heavy as some of the ones you seem to get in the Western world, in Europe and the US. So I've created this simple tagine to use the minimum amount of specialist spices and ingredients to make it a wonderful dish which is accessible and easy for you, and you can add that to your kitchen repertoire. And below you'll see that there's a link, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link to get this presentation, so just follow the instructions down there. But let's move on. So firstly, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to a pan. And we want to use a good quality oil because we want some of that flavour to infuse into the tagine. We want to heat that olive oil up, so heat it up until the pan gets hot and it starts to shimmer. Now place your chicken in the pan and leave it for a minute or two. When you put your fresh chicken pieces, here you'll notice I've used chicken thighs, which are on the bone, skin on, but you can make this with boneless chicken breast, you can make it with legs, whatever you want to do. Any chunks of chicken like that are perfect. But when you've got that in the pan, and when you shake it, they should move by themselves once they've got a bit of colour on there, and that's what we're doing here. We're sealing them up. We're trying to keep some of those juices in, but give it a lovely golden colour all the way round. So leave it for a minute or two, give it a shake, see if they're moving, give them a little lift, have a look, and if they're not ready, just give them a minute or so, and then turn your chicken. Seal and colour the chicken on both sides. Repeat the process. Remember, check it that it's getting that nice golden skin, and then remove the chicken from the pan. Just put it off to one side. Now, do not take the frying pan away and wash it, because we are not going to waste all that amazing chicken flavour that's left in there. What we are going to do is we're going to deglaze the pan. So, to do that, put the kettle on. We want to boil up a little bit of water, just a mugful, and we're going to make a saffron stock. Now, saffron is the most expensive ingredient in this dish, but it adds bags and bags of flavour. So you want to add a good pinch to the coffee mug, and then add a good pinch of salt as well. Remember, this is a stock, so we want the flavour to start going straight away. Fill that mug full of the boiling water, give it a really good stir up, and then set it aside. Put it to one side, off the chopping board where I've got it, and then take 1 medium onion, or I had to use here 2 small onions, but what you want to do is just slice them up. So get them ready, get them into a medium slice, rough and ready's fine. This is, it's a traditional kind of working man's meal. So, don't be too precious about it. So slice them up, get them to one side, and take 1 teaspoon of ground ginger and add that to the frying pan where we just cooked the chicken. So just pop that straight in. Pan off the heat. Now add 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. This is going to add a really lovely warmth and a real exoticness to the dish, and it works incredibly well with the saffron flavour, trust me. So get that straight into the frying pan as well. Now, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper goes in. This just adds a little bit of warmth, a little bit of Again, a little bit more of an exotic flavour, a little bit more of that Middle Eastern flavour. So get that into the frying pan. If you don't have cayenne, use a quarter of a teaspoon of chili powder or a pinch of chili flakes. And just remember, it's warmth we're looking for, not heat. So get that all into the pan. Once they're in, turn it on and get the pan going, get those juices and that oil frying again, and give it a good stir around. Now, once they're stirring round, you'll notice that after a minute or so on a sort of medium to high heat, you are going to get flavour right up your nose. You're going to smell it immediately. Now, the second you smell those spices come up, we're ready to go. We want to take a splash of the saffron stock. So just splash that in there, turn the heat off a little bit, and stir it round. Get all those bits of chicken off the bottom. You may need to add a little bit more stock to get it nicely moving around the bottom of the pan. Once that's done and it's liquid enough to pour it out into your tagine or into your casserole dish. Now, this is really the basis of everything, so make sure you get all those bits out and all those spices out. Once it's into the bottom of your tagine or casserole dish pot, add a really good twist of black pepper in there. Again, this is just going to give a bit more of a savoury taste going on for our basis of the tagine. Now take your onions, your sliced onions, and make a nice layer across the bottom. Again, it doesn't have to be perfection. Just get it so that there's a nice bed for the chicken to sit on. This is what we want to achieve. It's something that the chicken can steam in, and the onions are just going to be so fragrant and delicious. Crush a clove of garlic in. As you can see, I've used a standard garlic crusher, but you can chop it up. Just make sure you kind of sprinkle it around. Lumps and clumps are fine, but try and get it around the pan a little bit. And once that's done, you place your chicken on that bed of onions. And I've tried to make a nice little pretty pattern here, but you can kind of chuck it in if you want to. That's fine. Now peel and chop some carrot batons. And I've used a couple of medium-sized ones and basically sliced them in half from the middle and then quartered both ends. So you end up with nice batons which are pretty much the same size. And we want them the same size because they've got to cook through together. We don't want sort of mushy carrots in there and hard lumps. So get them all the same size so they cook together. Do the same with some potato wedges. So take a potato or two to match the amount of carrot and slice them up to a similar thickness. Again, they're going to be cooking at the same time. So really both of them are going to be around 3 inches or 7 centimeters long and about ½ an inch or a centimeter wide. So when you've done that, arrange the carrots and potatoes into the tagine. As you can see, my artistic flair has come out and I've tried to do it quite pretty for you there. Add in your saffron stock. Get all of that in. Once that's in, add another good pinch of salt around the top. And I always use, a good quality salt, a sea salt or kosher salt. Just make sure you get a nice big pinch and all over everything there. Quarter a lemon and use 2 of the pieces. So half a lemon cut in half. That's going to be enough for this dish. Add the lemon juice, so squeeze those pieces into the tagine, and again make sure you get it all over the meat and the vegetables. Then add those pieces you've squeezed into the pot. We want some of the flavour coming from the skin and the pith. It adds a little bitterness, but not in a bad way, and it's going to match the lemon juice, the sweetness of the lemon juice as it cooks. So we're going to get some really big flavours coming out just from that. Coarsely chop up a handful of parsley and take about 3/4 of it to half and add it into the tagine. We're saving a little bit more for a little bit of garnish at the end, just to make it look again pretty on the plate. So once you have that simmering, add your lid to your casserole dish or to your tagine, and then what we want to do is we want to just let it simmer. So we need to go right down on a low heat. Okay, a really low heat once it's simmering. We want it to continue simmering lightly and the lid's on, so we need to go and check that. So after about 5 minutes with the lid on, I like to go back and have a little look in. Okay, just make sure it's still moving. Then I crack open a beer, or you can crack open a bottle of wine, because we're going to leave that for 40 minutes now. And halfway through, just have a little peek in again. We don't want to cook with the lid off too often, but just have a little look, because we don't want it to go dry. Now the chicken should add lots of liquid in there as well, so it should be fine, but just in case, have a little look. And also you'll get that fragrance coming out, and you know it's going to be great for dinner. So 40 minutes later, open it up and test that chicken. Now when it's done, it should be white all the way through, and it should pull off the bone, just like it is in the picture. Obviously, if you're using boneless chicken breast, you're just going to cut into it a little bit. Have a little look. Make sure that chicken's cooked. If it's not, put the lid back on, give it 5 minutes, and then check another piece. Don't check the same one you've just tried, because that will have cooked through the cut that you've made in it. Okay, so it's all done. Garnish it with your remaining parsley. Serve it on a plate. You can serve it with couscous, you can serve it with rice, or I actually love it with some crusty bread. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed making it, and I hope you enjoyed eating it. I'd love to know what you think and how you got on with the recipe, so please comment below. And until next time, cook more and eat well.